The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are some of the most versatile reptilians in fiction. They've been in street fights, traveled through space, hopped across dimensions, even gone on world tours. But one part of their adventures is often overlooked: the supernatural. So it feels only right to explore one of their most enduring enemies, and their obsession with the dark arts. Join me as we uncover the mystical history of the original Foot Clan. The Foot Clan's origin was the product of a time loop caused by another of the Turtles' antagonists, Savanti Romero. In a previous adventure, Savanti got stuck in the past, unable to use his time-traveling spells for millions of years. That is, until the year 1373, when Savanti got strong enough to try to make his way back to the 79th dimension of Null Time. Fortunately for him, he was in feudal Japan, in the times of the Gosei clan. The Gosei family was known to the Time Lords because of their paranormal connection with time. By passing their knowledge from one generation to the next, the entire bloodline technically continued to live on through their descendants. Seeking to unlock their secrets, Savanti began attacking Gosei Araga with remote magical attacks. A disruption like that would echo through the Gosei bloodline, and it was felt by Gosei Hattori in 1992. Hattori found the Turtles and Master Splinter in Northampton and asked for their help. He and Splinter already shared a bond. Years earlier, Splinter had helped pass knowledge from Hattori's grandfather directly to him, skipping over one corrupted generation. This connection allowed Splinter to look into Hattori's mind, where he found something was changing the past. With the help of Renette, the Turtles traveled back to feudal Japan. Unfortunately, Araga was too weak to listen to the Turtles, so they ended up spending days waiting for some time with him. During this period, Raphael started sparring with two Ronin named Sato and Oshi. The two ninja picked up on Raphael's techniques quickly. In return, they guided him to the location of Savanti Romero. Savanti's samurai, Chota, was too strong for the three of them, but the rest of the Turtles tracked Raphael down, and together they stopped Savanti from unraveling the Gosei bloodline. After the Turtles returned to 1992, the two Ronin realized they had found a new purpose in life. Inspired by Raphael, they decided to refine his teachings and devoted themselves to learning all they could about the secret arts. They had a long journey to become a force to be reckoned with, but every journey begins with a single step, so they named themselves the Foot. The meaning of the secret arts remains unclear. It could refer to many things. But one possible interpretation is the paranormal. By the 20th century, the Foot Clan had developed a clear obsession with magical artifacts. During her early training, Karai learned the Legend of Takashi, the greatest foot ninja of all time. He wore an amulet said to give him an edge over any opponent. But that edge came at a cost. Consumed by his hunger for power, Takashi dishonorably killed every foot ninja who stood in his way. Haunted by guilt, he committed seppuku in an attempt to reclaim his honor. But the souls of his victims would not let him rest. They sealed his spirit inside his amulet. The amulet became a desirable object for the foot ninja, believed to carry not just Takashi's power, but also his leadership and skill. Karai eventually joined a group of fellow trainees on a mission to retrieve it. But the quest ended in tragedy. She was forced to kill the last surviving member of her group, destroy the amulet, and in doing so, free Takashi's soul. Though the experience taught Karai that true strength comes from within, it wouldn't be the last time she'd be tempted to take on a supernatural enhancement. Around this time, a very familiar story took place. You know the one. Hamato Yoshi and Oroku Nagi were both members of the Foot Clan. They competed over everything, including the love of a young woman named Tang Shen. Nagi, driven by jealousy, tried to force Shen to love him. When she resisted, he began beating her. Shen was saved only because Yoshi happened to stop by and found Nagi moments away from killing her. Enraged, Yoshi killed Nagi. Unfortunately, killing another member of the Foot Clan without a purpose was a dishonorable act. Yoshi and Shen fled to New York with Yoshi's pet rat, Splinter. The rest of the Hamato family members also left Japan to avoid the Foot's wrath. But Nagi had a younger brother named Saki. who saw their exile as Yoshi getting away with murder. Knowing that he had vowed vengeance for his brother, the clan took advantage of his passion and forged him into one of the greatest warriors the clan had ever seen. By the time he turned 18, they sent him to New York to lead the US branch of the Foot. Within the year, this branch became a force to be reckoned with. The clan started taking over the criminal underworld, and Saki took on the persona of the Shredder. Saki killed Yoshi and Shen, accidentally putting things in motion for his undoing. Early on, the Foot had a rival gang, the Purple Dragons. They infiltrated and fractured the dragons through behind-the-scenes manipulation, ultimately putting their leader, Hunter Mason, behind bars. Years later, the Foot took over Goseiko, the Gosei family's company, once run by Hattori's father, until his murder. Saki repurposed the business for the clan, and put a kunoichi known only as the Mistress in charge. Saki's rise to power wasn't so different from Takashi's. He grew too powerful, and his personal ambitions began to outweigh the clan's goals. The Japanese branch didn't approve, but Saki had grown too strong to challenge. They had no choice but to let him run his own empire. While Saki was a more traditional leader in his tactics, he kept Foot Mystics in his branch. The Mystics were ninja specialized in the esoteric, and usually the most dangerous ninja of all, as they were able to strike from afar through mystical means. After learning their origin story, the Turtles challenged the Shredder, who ended up dying dishonorably at their hands. But the death of the Shredder didn't put an end to the American branch of the Foot. With no designated successor, the clan resorted to the unthinkable, bringing Oroku Saki back from the dead. To do this, the Foot scientists fed Saki's remains to a colony of worms created by the Foot Mystics. The colony then took on the form, personality, and thirst for revenge of Oroku Saki. With the Shredder back, the Foot Clan recovered and organized an attack on the Turtles, forcing them into exile for a year. The clan continued their control of the city until the Turtles returned. After infiltrating their fortress, the Turtles put an end to the Shredder for what seemed to be the last time. However, Mashima, a Foot Mystic, wouldn't let Saki be forgotten. He used magic to return him to life as a big humanoid shark. But this version of the Shredder was quite diluted, and the creature started gaining an identity of its own. Mashima ended up getting fused with the creature's remains, and in a final act of clarity, he joined forces with Splinter to lay both himself and the creature to rest. Since the Mystics relied on the supernatural and the mind, they were the perfect match for Master Splinter, who had to survive many of their attacks throughout the years in both the physical and the astral planes. Without the Shredder, the criminal underworld went to war with itself in the hopes of taking over the Foot territory. But the Foot hadn't lost everything. The Turtles discovered this while helping their friend, Gosei Hattori, dismantle Goseiko. That mission led to their first encounter with the formidable leader known only as the Foot Clan's Mistress. She escaped before the building was destroyed, but not without warning the Turtles, vowing revenge for the crimes she believed Hamato Yoshi had committed against her family. Had the story continued, it would have revealed her true identity. Tang Amaya, Shen's sister, who mistakenly believed Yoshi was responsible for Shen's death. Beyond the gang wars, the Foot Clan was also fighting a war within itself. Without a clear leader, the organization fractured into three distinct factions. The Shredder's personal elite guard, who remained loyal to his memory. A tech division known as the Foot Scientists, engineers who were also trained in martial arts. And finally, the Foot Accountants, who, apart from being skilled at martial arts, were also in control of the financial operations of the clan. In this weakened state, the clan had no choice but to send recruits to their deaths on their many encounters with the Turtles. On the other side of the world, Karai rose through the ranks until she became the leader of the Foot Clan's Japanese branch. But unlike Saki, Karai was pragmatic and diplomatic, the kind of leader who would never put herself above the clan. The Japanese branch wanted to regain control of the US territory, but to do that, they needed unity behind the clan itself, not another self-serving leader. They initially held back, thinking it might be best to let one faction eliminate the others and rebuild from there. But the way the clans split up made them quite ineffective. The delay only worsened the chaos, raising the body count and drawing too much public attention to the foot. Trying to keep things in the shadows, Karai traveled to New York, where she realized that killing off the elite guards would be enough to take control of the clan. She offered the Turtles a deal: help her take down the elites, and she'd ensure the foot would never come after them again. But the elite discovered her negotiations, and after a swift attack, they killed Karai's daughter. Putting the clan over her grief, Karai disguised herself as the Shredder to convince the elites to commit seppuku, which only fooled one of them. After a final fight, Karai and the Turtles killed the rest of the elite guards. Karai regained control of the clan, and as part of their deal, she established a truce between them and the Turtles. Karai returned to New York and led the US branch of the Foot Clan for many years. The truce with the Turtles was mostly held, though the two sides clashed from time to time, usually over a conflict of interest. One such incident involved Casey Jones' cousin, Sid, who joined the clan while Karai was searching for a legendary heartstone rumored to grant immortality. Sid recognized the jewel they were after. It was his grandmother's ring, the same one Casey was about to use to propose to April. Sid led the Foot to Northampton to retrieve it, but Karai quickly discovered the gem was fake. The real source of immortality wasn't the jewel, but the ring itself. Sid would only learn this much later, after enduring years of torture at the hands of the Foot mystics. Years later, relations between the Turtles and the Foot reignited when the Utroms revealed their presence to the world and set up a base in New York. The facility became a hub for intergalactic travel, and they needed a non-lethal security force. The Foot Clan, who would act without using any weapons, fit the bill. But old grudges resurfaced, like the tense history between Leonardo and a foot ninja named Cha-Ocho. The two had been at odds ever since Cha ignored Leo's warning and followed through on a deadly revenge plan. Leo marked his face with his sword as a reminder of that choice. Raphael, on the other hand, got along with Cha just fine. And then, of course, the very diplomatic and tense relationship between the two leaders, Leo and Karai. Things were not going fine for the Foot Clan. A mysterious army of interdimensional warriors started targeting the Foot around the globe, with the New York branch being the last one standing. Knowing more than she had let Leo know, she asked for his help investigating this case. It didn't take long for Leo to realize that these warriors were after something supernatural in Karai's possession. Leo continued his investigation until he discovered that the warriors were attacking warehouses that had copies of a strange book filled with spells, incantations, and mystical potions. The book was written in an ancient language that he had learned from Splinter in his youth. Leo deduced that this book was part of the Nine. Interrogating one of these warriors didn't yield any satisfying results either. The warrior accused Karai of being the daughter of evil, and that he was trying to prevent the sowing of the Five Dooms. Karai's strange behavior made Leo suspect she was under the control of supernatural forces, but his investigation led him to the Battle Nexus, where he ran into Oroku Yoshi, a shredder from another dimension. There, he continued discovering more details about these interdimensional warriors. Because of the incomplete nature of Volume 4, we still have yet to find out what was going on with Karai. There is more than one timeline to this universe to take into consideration. The third volume of TMNT was published by Image Comics, and at the time was part of the same continuity as the Mirage comics. However, the book was cancelled without a proper conclusion. Rather than resolve those story threads in Volume 4, Peter Laird chose to treat Volume 3 as a separate timeline. This allowed the original creators to wrap it up decades later, on their own terms. In that version of events, Karai returned to Japan, and Raphael stepped into leadership of the Foot Clan, taking on the mantle of the Shredder. He would go on to face challenges from the Shredder's daughter, Pimiko, and later from the mysterious Lady Shredder. But that's a story that's better left for another video. Another timeline offered a glimpse into the possible future of the Mirage universe. In those stories, it was revealed that the Utroms exposed their existence to humanity in order to help evacuate the planet. before a series of catastrophic, world-changing events. The Foot Clan remained on planet Earth though, and we learned that Karai lived many years and even had a granddaughter in 2060 named Motoko. Eventually, Chaocho would rise to lead the Foot Clan, and despite his complicated history with Leonardo, the truce with the Turtles remained intact. The Foot Clan first appeared in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 in 1984, as a clear parody of the Hand, a similar criminal ninja group from Marvel's Daredevil. Like the Foot, the Hand specialized in dark magic and underground operations. But the Foot's obsession with the arcane wasn't part of their original concept. In fact, Kevin and Peter didn't even know there'd be a second issue when they created them. After the Turtles became a success and the Foot Clan and the Shredder became important for licensed products, the creative duo gave in to the temptation of bringing back the Shredder. The link between the Foot and magic started making its way into the lore throughout the years, sometimes in canon, sometimes not. Even their origin story was tied to time-traveling spells. With Master Splinter already tied to the esoteric and the astral plane, the mystical undercurrent had always been there, at least since the Gosei clan appeared in issue number 9. But it was thanks to the 2003 cartoon. The Mirage Foot Clan embraced the supernatural, thanks to the adaptation into comics of the Foot Mystics. It's interesting how the inclusion of these characters retroactively explains some of the core elements of the Mirage canon, and used them to expand the Foot Clan even more. Do you think the connection with the supernatural adds more to the thread of the Foot Clan? Or do you enjoy the more grounded take on the concept? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the sewers.